welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is our Tuesday edition of Rasaji Speaks. I hope you're having a wonderful beginning to your week. We have Master David teaching tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 o'clock on the Pacific Rim. We also have teachers training today at 1 o'clock, and you don't want to miss that. Real exciting with everything that's happening. So you probably wonder, what the heck is this background? Looks like fireworks, right? Title today is Let Thy Eye Be Single, and thy whole body would be filled with light. What did Jesus mean? What was he talking about? I remember my brother-in-law had just passed away. Thought about him a little bit today. I dropped Chin off for basketball tryouts at 5:30 in the morning. They're having their second tryouts, 5:30, an hour and a half before the first bell rings. Talking about dedication. I remember sisters and me doing that for swim practice before high school started. So a lot of people don't understand that level of dedication. Jesus was focusing on the third eye in the end of the root of the nose. Most people say connected to the pituitary gland. But I remember I woke up in a dream. I knew that something had happened traumatically to my brother-in-law. Lo and behold, within minutes, the phone rang, and it was a family member saying there had been an accident and boating. At that time, they didn't know whether he had survived or not. I already knew, talking to the angels, that he had passed. And I'll never forget the mourning and the suffering and watching a woman completely fall apart because one of her sons had passed. Unbelievable kid. Honor roll. He was going to be the valedictorian, uh, accepted in Duke University as an engineer, basketball scholarship, unbelievable future. Passed away by falling out of a boat at a party, at an anchor club party at school toward the end of his senior year, and hit his head on a rock and drowned in about 2 foot of water. He was an avid swimmer on top of all that. He had lifeguard and everything. I guess I think about him and Chin, there's some similarities, and we first shot hoops together before he ended up being one of the stars at the same high school that Chin is now 30 some odd years later playing. It's ironic how it happens. But I remember just watching how it crushed that family. I was upset for sure, but goodness gracious, they were crushed. And I could just see it in the face, especially the mother. I thought, God, there cannot be a pain greater than that. Can you imagine you're delivering a child and the mother goes through an immense kind of pain, but right behind that, the joy of that new life? This emotional pain actually that would begin to temporarily shut her brain down, and she would have what we call short-term strokes or short-term loss of memory. And it took the birth of my oldest, John, to completely turn her back around, the promise of new life. But I remember after about 6, 7 hours of going to the hospital, you're checking the body and being around the family, and people were coming back to offer their condolences, and it was just a really, really sad time. And I remember that I was thinking, my God, my energy body is a mess. I said, I got to get out of here for a while. So I went up to my first wife at the time and I said, I haven't had a bath or shower. I'm gonna go home and I'll be back in an hour or two, right? So I'll never forget, I went home and I thought to myself, boy, this death urge is really creepy. It was so thick. It's molasses, the energy. So I got in the tub and I took my three-prong candles and I put like 8 or 9 of them. So it was like 27 wicks around a giant bathtub. And I got in there and I started breathing. And I went through some birth trauma, cleaned out some death urge, and it was amazing. Next thing I know, my face is pressed up against the ceiling. You heard me right. My face was pressed up against the ceiling. And I mean, I was like that. It was amazing. And I looked down and the bottom half of my body was gone. But when I looked to the sides of me, I saw my energy body in all its glory. And this is a weak example of how beautiful and how powerful that it was. And I realized I had a single-minded focus. I wanted to get clean. I had no idea that I was ascending to the point of dematerializing my body. I was up there for several minutes, and my supersonic hearing in this altered state reached out. Her parents lived about 7 miles down the road. It was a good 5 to 10 minute car drive from our house. Imagine that. I'm up on the ceiling and I hear this cry. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. The next thing I know, I'm crashing my hiney to the floor of the bathroom. Oh my gosh, did that ever hurt? Right? My body filled up, legs came back, and that's what it was. That sadness and that yearning grounded me, put me right back totally in my body, solidified my body. And the next thing you know, I was on from the ceiling to the floor. I'll never forget that. But the part that was the most powerful was seeing my energy body and all the glory that the Heavenly Father, the Divine Mother give us. It was absolutely a light show. It looked like diamonds and sapphires and rubies and emeralds, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I thought to myself, why in the world was anybody want to leave this physical universe if they knew how special all this is? And it hit me, most people don't have a clue. When Jesus said, let thy eye be single and the whole body be filled with light, he's talking about mastering the first 5 chakras, right? The root chakra is earth. The navel chakra is water. The solar plex chakra is fire. Of course, the chest chakra is air. The throat is the mental element influence. And when you've mastered those 5 basic elements, you develop what's referred to as the sixth sense. And all the chakras and all the energies get pulled into that one. And that's what happened to me that one day. I physically experienced that. It was amazing. I'd had levitation experiences over a half a dozen times with my physical body. I've had several students that's had levitation experiences, but this was my first dematerialization experience. I was turning back into light and energy from whence I came. Wow. And it was spectacular. And I will tell you, brothers and sisters, that we are spectacular in his eyes and in his heart. We are, think of that newborn baby, that newborn grandbaby, and you're holding them and you can't believe how gorgeous they are. You can't believe how much you love them. Magnify that 10, 100,000 fold. And that's how much our Heavenly Father loves us. It's pretty damn amazing. It really is. All I can say on that is Boraga Bushad. And may the blessings be, let your eye be single and your whole body will be filled with light. And it looked like jewels and fireworks, and still that won't even come close, because that is the glory of our Maker, who gives us everything: a reason to breathe, a reason to think, a reason to move, and a reason to glorify and thank him, for he is in heaven, moving through us on earth as it is in heaven, loving all of his creation. Because really, when it comes down to it, it's all good. It started that way. That's the way it is. Rakabashai. See you on Hump Day's lesson of Rasaji Speaks. God bless you all.